So kind of for this next part, like Mulligan and I kind of wanted to talk about kind of like some of our personal rating experience, our memories rating.
The horror stories.
Yeah, the horror stories, the thrill of victory, the agony of defeat.
Did you want me to start?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so in Wrath of the Lich King, I'll focus on that because that's where I primarily rated. Cause like for my WoW history, I kind of break it down into kind of like three different phases. Where vanilla was just kind of me just hanging out with friends for the most part. Burning Crusade was just me kind of hanging out with friends, and then Wrath of the Lich King was hardcore rating for like a year. And I started out in Wrath just kind of being a gatherer. I just make money. That was my main focus. But eventually I got interested in raiding, and so I think Tournaments of Champions that just came out, which was the second to last raid. And I started getting into that, and then Ice Crown Citadel came out, and I decided to try plugging it into Ice Crown Citadel. But I was in a very casual guild, because I wasn't looking for a raiding guild at the time. I just wanted, I just wanted friends to hang out with, and so I was hanging out with my guild, and I do raiding on my own as a pug. I would, or a pickup group member. I would just go into looking for a group channel and just be like, hey, I'm looking for an Ice Crown Citadel group. So after a while, my casual group members started noticing me and two other people. We were getting the super high end Ice Crown Citadel gear. And they're like, oh yeah, we want to get in rating. We want to get that aspirational achiever effect happened. Oh, and so I was the head DPS. I was the DPS raid teacher. Then we had a tank teacher, and then we had the healer teacher, and we were the three people that were doing Ice Crown Citadel on our own. And so we started the group off easy in Wrath of the Lich King, which was doing the lowest tier raid, which was Naxxramas. Everything's fine, the group's not particularly good. They weren't good. They weren't good. They just weren't good. Okay, they weren't good. It was a nightmare. It was a horror show of just bad players, which I don't hold. I don't expect everyone to play the game perfectly. Like, you play the game the way you want, but when you're asking people to teach you how to do something, all I ever ask is just put in the effort. I ask them, look up videos, learn the raids, learn their classes, and then we can fine tune as we go. But they didn't do any of that. Like, none of them would do any of that, because we would say, watch a video, learn, at least have an idea of what you're walking into for the raid bosses. Oh well, I don't want to get. I don't want the fight to be spoiled on me. I want to learn it as I go in. Would be their excuse. And we'd just be like, I'm sorry, that's not how that's not how any of this works anymore. Like, maybe pre-YouTube you could have that attitude, but if you're asking to basically be carried, you're gonna have to start paying us gold. So it was a nightmare. I remember in particular there's one boss fight in Naxxramas. I can't remember the boss's name, but he was called the Safety Dance. Because the entire fight was just kiting the boss through these upspurts of like lava or fire or whatever it was. And basically the entire fight was just the raid slowly working across the room and back in between the spurts of fire. Hi.
Deep.
I was just talking about the safety dance.
Yep. I was listening.
Okay. And now at the time of this particular instance, I think we were like 3 or 4 months into grinding Naxxramas. And so let's do the math. What's 3 months? How many weeks are in 3 months? 9 weeks? 12 weeks?
It's you can run it about 4 weeks in a month, so that'd be about 12 weeks.
So we're 12 weeks in, and we're only on the 3rd boss. And this is like our 6th time fighting this boss. The entire group wipes, except for me, the main tank, and the main healer, the 3 that are doing Icecrown Citadel. And we 3-man this boss. And the entire raid just like, oh, just wipe so we can learn, wipe so we can learn. And we're just like, no. No. We're going to show you how to do it. We're going to show you how this works. It was a nightmare. It's one of the worst raiding groups I've ever been in my life, and I've been in some bad ones. We eventually did kill an Naxxramas with them. 6 months later. I cringe just remembering it. Like, it still has, I still have it. Oh.
We're doing a sortie.
Oh. Okay. Like, I still have like an emotional response to this memory. And it's like 10 years later. The other thing I remember is we fought Malagos, which was one of the raids in Wrath. And it was like the Onyxia fight, where it's just a single boss fight.
Right.
And, oh yeah, I remember how my Pharaoh Druid worked, because you and I were talking about this a while back.
Right.
I had 2 Feral specs, because you could dual spec. I had a pure DPS spec, that was my min-max spec, and then I had a hybrid tank DPS spec. Because, Feral Druid had that uncrittable talent. The talent that removed their critability, because like everyone else. Oh, I did a goof. Okay. So like in my Feral DPS build, I was crittable in bear form. And I just remember this one time oh my god, I suck. I just remember this one time we were fighting Malagos, and our main tank wasn't available that night. So we had our Proby tank main tanking. And it was a nightmare.
Right.
I eventually got to the point where I was pulling aggro off of him so hard that I had to start taking armor off to reduce my DPS. It was so bad that I was even doing like old school WoW tactics where I waited like 2 minutes before I engaged the boss.
Right.
To give him time to build up aggro, and I would instantly snap it off of him.
Right.
It got to the point where I just went bear form in my while crittable, and I was tanking better than this Proby tank.
Right.
And it wasn't like I'm not trying to be unkind to him, but I did teach this guy how to prop paladin, because he was a prop paladin. And I spent hours with him, like, telling him how to do everything. And he still could not figure it out. Even though I knew how to prop pally as well. Because I had one. But this guy was just like, I don't get it. I just don't get it. I don't get why I suck at this. I'm like, you need to research. You need to... Because I could only instruct him so much. Because every time I tell him to do something, like, yeah, I'm doing that. I'm like... Obviously, you're not.
Right.
And that was like, I think that was the time that broke me because everyone went crying to the guild leader saying that I was being like a condescending asshole to them. When I might have been, to be honest. I don't think I was, but I might have been. Who knows? I was an asshole. But so when people started complaining that I wasn't being nice or I wasn't helping the way that they wanted me to help, I just left the guild and I joined the guild that that I was running Ice Crown Citadel with because they had been trying to recruit me for like weeks. And eventually I was just like, yeah, I'll join you guys because I'm fed up with this shit. And that's how I got into hardcore raiding. And then I got carpal tunnel. And then I had to stop raiding.